Okay, so you know how sometimes, like, when you're building a website for a client and everything's going smoothly, like the design's coming together,
Okay.
deadlines are in sight, but then bam, you hit this wall.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for the client to give you the content, like the text, the images, all that good stuff, and it just throws everything off.
Oh, yeah, that content bottleneck.
Yeah.
It's a classic, isn't it?
It is, and it's not just annoying, right? It really impacts the whole project. It can push deadlines back, stress everyone out, and sometimes even strain the relationship with the client.
For sure. And it makes it tough to look good,
Yeah.
to consistently deliver on time and build that trust.
Exactly. So that's what we're diving into today. How to avoid that content waiting game. How to be proactive, get what we need, and keep things moving.
And I think a big part of that is shifting our mindset.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for the client to hand us content, we need to become content strategists ourselves.
I like that. Be the content strategist.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, there's this really helpful framework called See, Think, Do, Care. And it basically maps out the customer journey and helps us anticipate what content will be most effective at each stage.
So it's like we're thinking from the perspective of the person who's actually going to be using the website.
Exactly. We're trying to see the site through their eyes.
So like what are they seeing first? What questions are popping into their heads? Then what do we want them to do? And how do we support them after they've taken that action?
That's it. And by focusing on those stages, we can often develop a really solid content strategy even before the client has finalized things like your logo.
Wow, so we're almost ahead of the game.
Right, we're not just filling pages, we're creating a website that really connects with the audience.
Okay, I'm into this. Let's break it down. Starting with see what's happening in that first stage.
See is all about first impressions. It's that initial visual hook that makes someone stop scrolling or click through. That's where strong visuals are so powerful.
Yeah, like those images that just grab you or a video that sucks you in.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe even diagrams or infographics.
Mhm.
Anything that quickly and visually represents what the client offers.
So how do we get those visuals without constantly bugging the client?
Well, believe it or not, social media is a goldmine for this.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. Businesses are always sharing high-quality images and videos on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. And most of the time, it's all publicly available.
So they're kind of doing the work for us.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's content they've already invested in, so, it's aligned with their brand.
Smart. Okay, what about their current website if they have one?
Definitely check that out, too. Download anything that's still relevant and looks good,
Right.
but pay attention to the quality and style, too.
Okay, so like are the images high res? Do they still match the brand's vibe?
Exactly. That can help you figure out what to recommend to the client later on.
Makes sense. What if they're a brand new business and don't have much visual content yet?
That's where we get creative. You can use stock images or even create mock-ups as placeholders just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah. So we're not letting the lack of visuals hold us back.
Right. It's about showing the client a direction, even if it's not the final product.
Gotcha. And to keep all these visual ideas organized, we have a pro tip, don't we?
We do. Create a folder and call it See. Put all your images, videos, mock-ups, everything in there.
So it's all in one place, nice and easy.
Exactly. Makes it way easier to present your ideas to the client, too.
Okay, so people have seen something that caught their eye. Now they're moving into the think stage. What's going on there?
Now they're starting to ask questions. They want to understand what your client offers, how it works, what the benefits are, why they should choose them over the competition.
It's like that moment when curiosity kicks in.
Exactly. And this is where clear, informative content is so important.
But how do we figure out what they're thinking? What questions they have?
Well, we can't read minds, but we can do some good old-fashioned research.
Okay, like what kind of research?
Start by looking at the client's industry. What are the common questions people ask? How do competitors describe their products or services? What language do they use?
Oh, so we can see what's already working for others.
Right? And we can also look for gaps.
Yeah.
Things that maybe aren't being explained well.
That's a good point. So we can make sure our client's website fills those gaps.
Exactly. Now, another great resource is online reviews and testimonials.
Yeah, those can be so insightful.
They really are. Check out what people are saying about your client and their competitors on Google, Facebook, Yelp, all those places.
So we're basically eavesdropping on real customer conversations.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it gives us direct insight into their thoughts, their concerns, their pain points.
Wow, that's valuable. Okay, so we've gathered all this information about what potential customers are thinking. What do we do with it?
The next step is to start drafting a list of frequently asked questions, FAQs.
Ah, the good old FAQs.
Yeah, put yourself in the shoes of someone who knows nothing about your client's business. What are the most basic questions they would ask? What would make them hesitate? What information would really help them?
So it's like we're creating a knowledge base for the website before we even start building it.
That's a great way to put it. And to keep all this Think content organized, we have another pro tip.
Hit me with it.
Create a folder called Think and put all your research in there. Your competitor notes, your customer review insights, your draft of FAQs.
Another nice and tidy folder. I like it.
It keeps everything streamlined. And this Think stage, it really connects with that WIFFM concept we talk about a lot.
What's in it for me, right?
That's the one. It's all about understanding the customer's motivation. They're not just passively reading, they're actively evaluating how your client can help them.
So we need to be answering that WIFFM question in our content.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And that's especially true when we're talking about the client's blog.
Oh, yeah, the blog. How does the blog fit into this think stage?
Each blog post can be like a deep dive into a specific question or concern that potential customers might have. Really giving them the information they're looking for.
So the blog becomes a resource for them as they're in that thinking mode.
Exactly. And when you're writing blog posts, always keep that WIFFM in mind. Highlight the benefits for the reader. Make it clear why this information is valuable to them.
Okay, so we've grabbed their attention with visuals, we've answered their questions and given them some food for thought with the blog. Now it's time to move them towards action. The do stage.
Exactly. Do is all about defining that call to action. What do we want people to do after they've engaged with the content?
So many possibilities, right? They could buy something, book an appointment, sign up for an email list, contact the client for more information.
So many options. And figuring out the best calls to action starts with looking at what the client's already doing.
Okay, so back to their social media and website.
Yep. See what kind of CTAs they've used in the past. What actions have they been promoting?
Like learn more or contact us.
Exactly. And the blog is a great place to look too. Are they encouraging comments, shares, signups?
Good point. Okay, so let's say their CTAs aren't that clear, or maybe they're not even using them consistently. What then?
Then it's time to put on our strategist hats. We need to come up with compelling CTAs based on the client's goals and their target audience.
So like if they want to generate leads through their blog, we might suggest a download our free guide CTA.
Exactly. Or if they're an e-commerce business, it might be shop the products mentioned in this post.
So we're being proactive. We're not just waiting for them to tell us what they want.
Right. And to keep all those CTAs organized, guess what? We have a folder for that.
I bet I know what it's called, the do folder.
You got it? Put all your CTAs in there along with any important info like phone numbers, email addresses, booking links, whatever's relevant.
Another handy folder.
Yeah.
All right, so we've guided the potential customer to take action, but the journey doesn't end there. We've got one more stage, care.
Care is all about what happens after the action's been taken. It's about providing support, information, engagement, building that long-term relationship with the customer.
So it's not just a one-and-done situation.
Not at all. It's about nurturing that connection.
Okay, so what kind of content are we talking about here?
Things like after-sales support resources, information on warranties, and guarantees customer service contact options.
So like making sure they know how to get in touch if they need help.
Exactly. And it can also include helpful content like tutorials, user guides, or even blog posts that provide extra value.
Oh yeah, the blog can definitely play a role in that care stage too.
It's a great way to keep customers engaged and feeling supported. You can share tips, answer common questions, offer insights into the industry.
So how do we go about gathering this care content?
Research is key again. Look at what competitors are doing. What kind of support do they offer?
Good place to start. And what about
Well,
social media? Can that be helpful here?
Absolutely. Look for mentions of customer service interactions or positive feedback about their support.
So it's like getting a glimpse into how they're already handling the care aspect.
Exactly. And based on all that research, you can start drafting some initial ideas for the client.
So maybe we suggest a dedicated customer support email address, or we highlight their warranty policy, or we recommend creating a series of how-to blog posts.
That's the idea. And of course, we have a pro tip for this stage too. Are you ready for it?
Give it to me.
The care folder.
I knew it.
It's a lifesaver. Put all your care-related info in there, support details, warranty info, contact options, blog post ideas.
Okay, so we've gone through the whole see, think, do, care framework, and we've seen how the blog can be integrated into each stage. Now, how do we present all this to the client and actually make it happen?
Communication is key. Share those beautifully organized see, think, do, care folders with the client.
So they can see all the work we've put in.
Exactly. And explain how each folder aligns with the customer journey. Why this content is so important.
And we also need to be clear about where we need their input, right?
Absolutely.